Hey graduates, wagwan, happy Friday. Look here now, one thing I have learned this week in social media is that there are a lot of people out there who do not learn from past mistakes. Now, I'm certain by now you have all seen the headlines where Alice said that she would be happy to return to Hero Circle to sell her crabs and her soup. Of course, the mayor has counteracted that and said that under no circumstance would Alice be allowed to sell or to be a vendor in that vicinity. But what I found ridiculously funny was the fact that somebody called in on Andre Stevens' show and said that they would have no problem returning to Alice's stall and purchasing from her. Right. This person claimed that they knew that she was targeted and that the people who recorded her did so because they were bad mind. But honestly, people, regardless of the fact that this woman recorded Alice because she had ulterior motives, it does not discount that the whole situation is extremely unhygienic. Why in goodness name would you be willing to support such nastiness, claiming that you are going to give her another chance because her soup tastes like you are in heaven? Imagine that Andre asked this caller why it is that they think that the food tastes so good. If it is because of the additional products that might be in the soup. The lady said that it might be so, but regardless, she did not have a problem with it. Now, I really want to know how many other Jamaicans are thinking like this and miss Alice's soup and crabs so much that they would patronize her business, knowing about her sanitary disgrace. Now, I don't understand why it is that people think that something like this can be ignored. Is it that you don't value yourself? That you are going to eat from her or any other vendor who you know don't have access to any kind of toilet facilities, nowhere to wash their hands after they have done the do either? No, man, I don't think that it would ever happen where I'm concerned. I could never eat from her or eat from anybody out in Hero Circle knowing the circumstance out there until the correct facilities have been built. And I know for a fact that the workers have got access to clean running water as well as toilet facilities while handling food. So let me ask you something, graduates. Is it that we are willing to eat excrement just to prove that people bad mind? We will stoop so low as to eat from somebody who does these things, knowing that it isn't good for us, knowing that we can catch all kind of diseases and viruses. We would stoop so low just to prove a point? This is a classic sign of cutting off one's nose to spite one's face, because you're only going to be doing yourself harm. But on a serious note, people, the food industry definitely needs to be regulated in our island. There are a lot of street vendors out there who are serving the public food without having access to sanitary environments where they can make sure that they are keeping themselves clean and hygienic while handling their meals. Now, I don't understand how it is that the government of Jamaica has only just realized that this is a problem. Surely they should have made it a point of duty, especially having to give them food hygiene training to make sure that they have got such facilities. Because how can you train the people to say, make sure that your hands are washed, make sure that bodily fluids are kept far away from food, avoid things like cross contamination and so on, and then you provide a space where they can actually go and sell their food? It becomes a national icon because everybody travels far and wide just to go here. And you do not recognize this as a place where you should have ensured that the facilities are in place. Jamaican government is always slacking on crucial things such as basic human needs. And this is not the only space in Jamaica that has this issue. We also had that issue out by Faith's Pen. And by the way, people, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Faith's Pen has almost completely shut down. It's been a few years now that Faith's Pen has been next to abandoned. I think there's like a few stalls that are still open. Since the building up of the highway, a lot of the traffic that used to be diverted towards Faith's Pen is now going away from the hot spot. And as a result of that, they have got less customers, less traffic going their way. But regardless, despite the unfortunate circumstances, even if Fates Pen was to become a spot again, it will be one of those areas that the Jamaican government really should be looking into to ensure that the same mistake that happened at Hero Circle does not repeat itself. It makes me wonder really why it is that the government is shying away from investing in the street vendors who feed the masses and really are the seat of traditional food. The culinary arts of the street is very different from the refined culinary arts that you will go and experience in a restaurant. And it tells me that there is a bit of an agenda there where they kind of want to drive them away, if not shut them down, because that's not where the money is, where the taxes are being earned for the government. In other words, because these vendors are more or less a part of the shadow economy, where the government cannot monitor exactly how much money is being made so that they can get a slice of the pie, they do not consider it priority to ensure that they have got the appropriate amenities to actually deliver their services. Yes, there has been this big hoo-ha about Alice and her environment and her lack of hygiene, and they are making changes at Hero Circle, building up as we speak all the toilet facilities and so on. But have the government learned their lesson? No, they haven't, because they are not making this a nationwide attempt. If you look, they are just doing it because it has been brought to the media. It has drawn the attention of the public and it makes Jamaica look bad. So the government is responding purely to that rather than looking at their policies and procedures with regards to street vendors across the board. Now, speaking of not learning their lesson, let's talk about the situation with regards to the public transportation system in Jamaica. Now, Delroy Rodney, who is a 47-year-old deacon in the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Westmoreland, was the man behind the wheel of a taxi involved in a motor vehicle collision in Bluefields that claimed the lives of 5 people. He'll be spending his time in jail for the next few weeks. However, initially it was claimed that he had fled the scene, but what had happened was that Delroy Rodney reached out to his attorney and then handed himself in. He has been charged with 5 counts of causing death by dangerous driving. The resulting deaths were of a 15-year-old schoolgirl, her 39-year-old mother, a 65-year-old mother and her son, and an additional 54-year-old female. Now, everybody is up in arms about the crime itself, the fact that these people lost their lives as a result of dangerous driving. But nobody is addressing the fundamental problem. Now, graduates, I remember the last time that I went to Jamaica. And while there, I often took taxis in the North Coast to get from one point to the other. Particularly when I was going to a place that I had not been to before and I didn't want to drive, okay? While doing so, I experienced some of the worst driving in my life. Literally, I saw my life flash before my eyes on many occasions. The overtaking style of these taxi drivers is so risky that a fatal accident can occur at any given time. Certainly, while I stayed in Montego Bay, I witnessed 3 car accidents within that short space of time. And it was all due to reckless and careless driving. And every single one of those accidents included a public transportation system, be it a minibus or a taxi. And I was certainly pleased to see that at least one very vocal young man had come out onto TikTok to speak about the situation. I'd like you to listen to what this guy who goes by the name of The Little Fire has to say on TikTok about the situation with the taxi drivers and the fact that once again we have got the Jamaican government not learning their lesson.
So I saw the news last night of the taxi in Westmoreland, the 7-seater, that a few persons died from it. At least three persons died from it. I don't know about nobody, but I wasn't on the scene of that accident, that one in particular. I don't know the series of events that transpired leading up to the accident. We just have to take eyewitness account and maybe whoever else, you know, was a part of the vehicle. But you know something, Jamaica? You have good and bad in everything. You have good and bad in a church, good and bad in a school, good and bad at any workplace. But when it comes to taxis in a Jamaica, you have some good taxi man. Some very good taxi man. I mean, I want nobody coming in my comment section. Come chat no garbage. Or let's not go black you. Come in a business. You have good taxi man and then you have some taxi man where I tell us that them worse than gunman. Worse than gunman. The amount of lives with them take. They spend them driving. But then again, we don't give two shits, really, because the police them constantly write ticket, write ticket, write ticket, write ticket. And the same man end up on the road. When will we reach the point where we understand how critically important it is to have taxi man top drive mad with people lives on board? When will we stop having them go certain mile per hour? Pan some of them a look dirty bad road where we have a Jamaica. Swing from patrol, do all kind of things. With any fool passenger them. Sit down in a taxi them. And nah say nothing because you want to reach a school pan time, you want to reach a work pan time. Nobody now grab the freaking taxi man them with all loose on their back. Grab them to the name and at top, box them to the head till then top. Let me out of this. Who do not care about the life? Who do just sit down and make a taxi man them do all kind of sitting and drive in all kind of way? So I have to blame the passengers because I found a life. Who don't put on a life and I want some madman who greedy. So they might hurry for me case and get a couple more passenger. And they drive dirty. Nobody now talk about it. Nobody now address it. Yeah? A whole heap of taxi man friend me have. Whole heap of taxi man friend. Yeah? From Old Harbour, from Maypen, from Mandeville, from Donga Senti, Kingston, whole heap of taxi man brethren me have. But it does not change the friggin' fact. Not because me have taxi brethren, it simply means say, me supposed to support Uno drive the friggin' people them recklessly. Uno so reckless with the friggin' people them life. And enough of Uno now dead when time Uno crash. I people them are dead and broke up. When you look on the accident last night, you had to be speeding. You have your speed. For your 7-seater like that where the very door, the side door, bust off. Till the passenger then fly out and dip on ground. You have to fly. There's no God way on the earth you could have been going 50 miles per hour or 60 or 70 miles per hour and the door bust off. So, me not ask you. Me a drive up on this. Yeah? We can't continue have no drive the people them up on the road. Not to mention the schools, me say two bus. I carry school picking them yesterday. Me I watch the two bus them. Me in traffic, you know. Me in traffic. And the two bus then they over here, sir. Over here, sir. Them in a middle road because they can't cut back in because the traffic was literally a standstill traffic. And the other set of motorists them come up. On the right hand side of the road. And them get trapped in the middle. Two big old coaster bus ram with pitney bus, 6 pitney up on the front alone. The bus they ram up and police see it. Police see. Nah, do nothing about it. They see. What do you think gonna see? Oh no, give them one ticket. Take away the friggin' license so they can't drive again. And then we know how damn serious the friggin' law is. Take away the friggin' license, take it away. Suspend the damn license, suspend it. One taxi man I get a freaking 800 ticket, 500 ticket, 200 ticket. Really? We need a 1, 2, 3, you're freaking out. And that we need. 1, 2, 3, you're out. If you are being caught for the same offense 3 times, suspend the backside license. That is the only way Jamaicans will comply. When you increase the penalties. That is the only way, that is one of the other ways in which Jamaicans will comply. We can't get up and watch a brother and sister them fall up in a light post, fall up over there in a bush. Dead half the people and miss. Girl left them freaking pitney, then wife, then this, then that. Because of a careless freaking taxi man. And nobody know a damn chat about it. Everybody just busy at dance. And you don't know how much people dead from motor vehicle accident in a little Jamaica, yes, sir? Mash up. I don't have a law. I don't know how to use it, and somehow the police want to take set from private people, private vehicle, not take set from motorists. Take set from we want to live on we, dog. Live on we. No, get up and say, yo, a time for we really start with turn up a law upon uno. And you know why? Because enough of uno police to enough of uno have taxi on the road. Enough of uno have taxi on the road. Enough of the taxi them have phone. I mean, I try to go on like more bad mind on a hustle. But at the same time, the law needs to be friggin' just and not double standard. The law needs to be just. So enough other police ignore certain things when them say, and certain taxi man. We have all 10 school picnic on the friggin' front seat of a car. Well, I might be exaggerating much, but sometimes I see 3 over there. One side I drive and 2 on the passenger side. I don't know what I tell me, so I friggin' lie me I tell. Because I used to in a taxi and I used to see it. And I never agree with it. If your parents, if some of the parents, if you don't ever have a damn clue. If you don't ever have a clue we go on in a son taxi, you know. Enough of the pit in them and get grind out, you know. Anyways, I'm not touching topic. Because be a man and woman go to school these days. Enough parents know and don't give a shit. And the law don't give a shit neither. So, you know see why me should really give a shit. I'm just focused on the facts. Hey, people, them lives matter. I don't need to take charge of our own life. If you don't want to sit down and make taxi man wreck on you, I want to fall up in a light post and bush. Broke up. Dead. Face bust up. Then you can constantly let them drive on the way them drive. You understand me? I say, I'm not going to see it in a chat. I'm not going to know that about me. To the good taxi man, them, big up. To the real taxi man, them out there, enough love and respect. Thanks for protecting the people, them life. Thanks. I appreciate you know. To the real taxi man, them. Me, appreciate you know. Mash up your thing. Cool.
Now, speaking of not learning one's lesson, let us address the fact that Andre Stevens insists on revisiting the personal relationships between the Prime Minister and others in his discussions around political issues. Yes, in his recent live, he referred to the fact that the Speaker of the House, Juliet Holness, was not willing to table the report from the Integrity Commission. I think that's a reasonable discussion. Certainly, the people of Jamaica should want to know why it is that this report was not brought into Parliament, and why it is that the revelations around the Big Six are being held back from the public. However, what I found a little bit disheartening is the fact that Andre still insists on rising up these allegations around matey versus wifey in the political arena. Surely this is the kind of thing that brought him to slander and libel in the first place. Considering that he's paying out damages for defamation, shouldn't Andre Stevens continue to be more cautious with the things that he is alleging or stating in his public lives? I was pleased to see that the followers did not necessarily fan the flame. In fact, they were more focused on the fact that the report was hidden and who could potentially be on it, as opposed to looking at any potential illicit affairs that are taking place between the different characters within Parliament. Certainly, we have to be careful about the kind of things that we are bringing to the table as bloggers, and we should be thinking wisely about the allegations and accusations that are being made. It seems as if there are certain things that Andre still has not learned, and I am concerned that if he isn't careful, he should face even more dire consequences as time proceeds. So, graduates, for those of you who are not aware, Jamaican Carlos came out once again to speak about the accusations made against him by Andre Stevens, who claimed that he was taking money in an underhand way in order to vlog in a particular way, be it with political bias or to avoid certain topics. Now, Jamaican Carlos has come out claiming that he has files on Andre Stevens and that he will not hesitate to release such files should Andre Stevens dare to call his name or accuse him again. Interestingly, Andre Stevens did throw some shade in that direction by stating that they're trying to pull his tongue, but he refuses to give them any wind. Any listeners who are aware of the dynamics will know that he is referring to the situation with Jamaican Carlos. Is it that he is now being very cautious and wary about how he attacks Jamaican Carlos, given the fact that Jamaican Carlos has said that he has got several pieces of evidence, hardcore evidence, against Andre Stevens that would break the internet? But you know what? This is showing me once again that in some ways the world of blogging is a very messy place. There are people out there who are busy gathering all kinds of voice notes, recordings, bits of information, and they are waiting to tear you down at any given time, using these items as blackmail, right? I don't think it's right either way you take it. Yes, it's important that as bloggers we do research around a topic that we're aiming to discuss. But if your intention is not to discuss somebody in a negative light, you wouldn't necessarily lean towards gathering such evidence. So I am looking at it this way. Is it that Jamaican Carlos always had this evidence against Andre? And if he did, what was his intention in terms of collating such and keeping it in his archives? Or is it that this information was gathered in a move of vengeance while he was feeling quite angry towards Andre during the time where he grieved his father and he was busy burying his dad in Jamaica? Is it possible that he gathered all of this evidence, waiting with bated breath to clap back at Andre should he make any further accusations of him taking money dishonestly? So you see, once again, Andre Stevens has cornered himself where he has to be careful because he's now not quite certain if he holds the handle while Jamaican Carlos holds the blade, right? So he has to tread cautiously because he doesn't know what it is that Jamaican Carlos has in his ammunition, if anything at all. But should there have been anything in the first place? It's all about which comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Did he do some things that were so underhand that they could go against him, and that has built up a canon of evidence that can be used against him at any time? I would strongly suggest that bloggers who have such recordings, such pieces of information, that you do not release such. Let people move on and let the law deal with them accordingly, rather than taking things in your own hands. But who am I to speak? I was not the one who was directly accused by Andre Stevens of taking money from political parties. However, I did get caught in the fire because even though he was directly addressing Jamaican Carlos, many of his followers started to accuse myself as well. Poor me. Completely independent and certainly not political in any way. The spoken word can definitely be a source of empowerment, but it also can be a tool of destruction. And if not used wisely, can certainly lead to your own demise. I certainly hope that Andre Stevens starts to reflect on his previous problems, his previous calamities, around where his own spoken word has caused so much turmoil in his life, because many have fallen by the wayside, turned against him, used him, abused his platform to their advantage because of the things that he had said and how that maligns their own affiliation with him. Now, speaking of people who still have not learned their lesson, the so-called pastor man. Boy, I don't know if it is an act of God or the opposite, but certainly by harassing this man, by constantly living on this man's name, the lady in Portland has caused him to pull his tongue yet again. And this so-called man of God swore blatantly in his live yesterday. He used the F-bomb once again, threatening the lady in Portland that she would not be able to cope if he turned up in her backyard, much less in front of her. In fact, he implied that he would not be doing any talking. So to me, that tells me he will be doing some acting. So is it that this so-called pastor is threatening the lady in Portland with physical violence? What I'm going to say is this. Fair enough, you are proving to the world that this man is not changed, that his apology is worth zero. But I don't think it necessarily has to be proven, because anyone with logic and common sense can see that this man, and with all of his tirades, is unchanged and is definitely under some kind of negative energy, negative spirits whenever he comes on social media and he starts to refer particularly to women. So no, it does not necessarily have to be proven. What he's displaying is what many of us already knew. But by making it obvious, he is certainly driving himself away from the grace of God because of his behavior. In one breath, this man is on a tirade. He's talking about the fact that Jamaican people do not respect you unless you hurt them. And then in another breath, he is saying, praise the Lord. And he's saying that the nation is lost to the devil. How is this man contributing to a better picture of Jamaica, where he's literally on his live, literally threatening to physically harm the lady in Portland? Boy, I tell you, this is not going to end well. Somebody has got to stop. I have shown in a previous live that this man has been prone to a lot of physical violence. And you never know at one point people are going to tip over the edge. And I do not believe it wise or sensible to keep provoking somebody with such a criminal past that is clearly still not under control, no matter how many praise the Lords he says. This man is not the only one that is like this. There's a lot of men out there with a lot of bitterness towards women. He spent a considerable amount of time on his live speaking about how women protect each other despite the fact that they do awful things. And it's coming from a deep-rooted place of where he felt some kind of neglect and abandonment in his own life. Such a bitter man can lash out at females at any given point. And once again, he continues to spread curses on people's lives, wish them harm, wish them death, wish them illness. This man is truly sociologically ill. And I don't believe any blogger should be involved in any to and fro with him. Even if you are discussing the issue, I think it is very unwise to keep poking the tiger to get some kind of content out of him. You may end up being the brunt bearer of his venom. Just be careful out there when interfering with people of this nature that claim to say that they're representing God, when they have got some real demonic tendencies in them. Now, all in all, graduates, we as human beings, we are all entitled to make mistakes. Yes, because we're designed to make errors. We are not perfect by any means. And every human being out there cannot say that they are the perfect example that needs to be followed. We can only aspire to achieve a better version of ourselves as time and experience will allow it. And each time we improve, there will be a better outcome. In everything you wish to achieve in this life, you've got to work towards it. It has been wonderful watching the journey of 33 times 3 as she creates such an empire around herself, around her brand. Watching her develop her baking skills, looking at the hundreds of cakes on a day-to-day basis as they leave her kitchen. It is a wonderful thing indeed. And you know what I have noticed? She has certainly set a precedent and is a role model and example for many others who are in this culinary field. As one picture of many cakes on a table goes out, so does the other. And I find it hilarious to watch. But really, you are aspiring because of her. Your competition has made you evolve. And for that, you ought to be very grateful. By seeing the example that she has set in the industry, you are recognizing that hard work is a must in order to achieve the things you need in this life. You're also recognizing that accountability is a must. And by recognizing that accountability is a must, you're ensuring that your customers receive their goods on time, that tracking numbers are being issued on time, and that even though your clientele was built on hatred and negative competition, you have managed to plug a surplus market for yourself. Whether or not that's commendable, that's another thing, but certainly it has worked for you in this time. Suddenly, there are new pictures with more boxes, no longer a repetition of previous years of boxes. That shows that there is some progress and some attainment is being achieved. Continue to learn from your mentor. Continue to learn from your example that 33 times 3 continues to give you. One thing I wish you would also mimic is the need for cleanliness in your working environment. Presenting yourself in a clean way means that your kitchen is in fact a clean environment. That's something that 33 times 3 continues to hold to high standards. It is also good to recognize when you have bitten off more than you can chew, and that you are setting boundaries to ensure that expectations are met and people are not left waiting unnecessarily for products that they have purchased. So, in this way, I can say that you have definitely made some advancements. Now, imagine if the competition had simply focused on their craft and continued to build their clientele, but in a positive way without tearing down the person whom they hold in high esteem. They certainly would have been much further than they are now. But, as I said, we're all human and we're entitled to make mistakes. So hopefully this may be a learning curve now that they are receiving some sort of endorsement of their products that is up to date. I do not hold with bated breath to see whether or not this person has learned from their mistakes. We have seen this cycle before, though it seems to have paid off more in this current baking season than it has in previous baking seasons. It has certainly been seen where this individual, once their business slumps, their eyes and their enmity and their viciousness turns again towards the mentor, whom is nothing but a seasonal baker in that industry. 33 times 3, everyone is following your example set. They're all raising their bars. So many bakers nowadays have come out of the woodworks, and they are doing the best that they possibly can to compete with you. But by doing so, you have certainly made these people better versions of their past selves. Their focus is more on advancement, on talent, than it is on negative energy. And as such, you have done this social media space a great justice. And no matter how many times your name is placed on a piece of paper and burnt in a rubbish heap, You cannot stop the fire that's burning from within. 33 times 3 will continue to rise as she invests her time appropriately to build herself, develop her skills, and to handle her business with the highest standards on social media. Every business move she makes continues to be an inspiration, even to the ones who would not dare to admit it. But graduates, we see it for exactly what it is. And although it is a bit of dramatic irony, it is still a wonderful thing that should be celebrated. I'd like to say a few big ups before I go, graduates. I'd like to big up Chocolate and Vanilla on their new product that has come out recently. They are advertising their sandals. I would like you to patronize them as much as you possibly can. As Christmas comes up, they will make wonderful gifts. I'd also like to say happy birthday, or rather happy belated birthday, to Lady with the Alphabet. And finally, graduates, I'd like to introduce to you my new business. It's called HTK Digital Designs. Yes, my love, it teacher K gone in a one different line of business. I have had so many requests to design certain things for different people's platforms that I've decided that, you know what, I'm going to use this skill for the benefit of a business. HTK Digital Designs will be online based, so people will be able to reach out to me if they wish to have their graphics designed, be it for a logo, business card, advertising poster, flyer, statement post for social media, all electronic. So if you are looking for quality designs for your social media in order to increase your presence, please feel free to reach out to me for a quotation. I will be including a Facebook shop for basic designs, but of course there will be an opportunity to achieve bespoke products as well. The aim is to present quality design products to the public for an affordable price. Yes, manarabono, not at all. I will be placing the link for my business page in the description of this video. Anyway, graduates, big up yourself and have a wonderful evening. This is your girl, Head Teacher K.